is Jentel Kers from Belgium, second place Leonard Neubauer, and in third place Steven van Broekhoven. Unfortunately, the wind hasn't been enough for the double elimination. We tried our best, but unfortunately the wind just fell asleep. Stay tuned for the upcoming days because the forecasts are looking very good.
Woo! What a day.
What a day it's been. It's been incredible. I
Yeah.
mean, it was so exciting this morning.
Yeah, I mean, the first couple of heats started and we were like, oh, it's not that windy. Are we going to be able to run it? And then the wind just picked up and up
Yes.
and up, and it just kept going.
Exactly.
And it just kept getting more and more excited. And as we got, some more of the heavy hitters out on the water,
Yeah,
we
true.
were all getting surprised with the moves. As I said earlier, I was a bit worried that it was going to be a bit of a burner fest and it was just going to be the kind of same moves. That is quite a traditional move that a lot of the guys kind of learn first when it comes to foil style. But actually, we saw loads of different moves.
Yes, a lot of variety in, and obviously I was really surprised also how high the level was.
Yeah,
because
me too.
I mean, actually even the riders expected a lot of crashes, but it didn't happen.
No.
Like the level was so high already,
Yeah.
and so many clean moves landed.
It got to the point where we
Insane.
were like, we want to see more crashes.
Yes, exactly.
I was like, come on, I wanna see more crashes happening. Some more big slams going down. Because let's face it, that's what we want to see. Of course, we want to see some great landed moves. But yeah, some big crashes. And of course, a foil always brings a whole new element to crashing as well. As you said, when you crash, we saw a few catapults, and you go so far when you catapult on a foil.
You fly so far away. I mean, it looks even more funny than catapulting on a normal gear.
Yeah, absolutely. So the way we are leaving it, the current foil style standings. So as you can see, Jentel Kers coming in first with an absolute stellar performance.
Oh yes.
The big
He
point of
loved
difference. The big point of difference, as we'll get into once we go through the moves, was that difference between the Pasco and the burner, so that upwind burner that you can do on a foil. But the difference between that and the Pasco, that really helped Jentel today. His ones were full proper Pascos, and that move obviously significantly harder with the judging criteria, so getting those extra few points in.
Yes.
Leonard Neubauer, kind of surprising a lot of people
Yes.
coming in second. He's not one of those riders that you necessarily associate with foil style.
True. But he said that he, during the last month, he was training a lot on foil style, actually, because it was
Yeah.
not that windy on his home island in
Yeah.
Greece. And therefore, he got more into it and he trained quite a bit. So, but also Jentel and Leonard, both of them, they were actually surprised about their own results
Yeah.
today, they admitted.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they were all sort of, a bit shocked with how well they did. Yeah, of course, Steven van Broekhoven, you can't mention freestyle or foil style without his name.
True. I
his
mean,
name
he does
coming up.
everything. So,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
everything good.
And him, another point of difference in terms of moves, his konos today. We had every rider trying to land them and kind of not being able to bring the board back underneath them, not quite getting the height, almost, not having
True.
the pressure in the sail to get that lift. Somehow, I ate my words when I said I don't know if anyone's going to do it. Instantly, he landed one full
in
rig
front
flip.
of the crowd and super clean.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone getting very excited. Sam and Steve still managing to pull out some moves, but didn't look like he was having his best day, I think.
Yeah, true. He was not really able to show what he's actually capable to do.
He had some moments of real glory, but yeah, just still not quite managing to get himself. So it'd be interesting to see how he goes.
Definitely in the double then. And I mean, fourth position, as we said, it's always a little bit the unlucky position because it's just there, but it was not enough.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, coming back, actually, the next heat we will be running will be Jamie Howard up against Tim Gerdes. An in-form Tim Gerdes.
Yes.
Ripping.
Wow. He was giving us a great show today.
Yeah.
He's one of the young Brouwersdam guys, loving it. He was actually showing us already great potential on the fall during this winter with a lot of insane content. And I mean, all the moves he landed, they were just perfect. They were clean and a lot of variety in also. So looking forward to see him on the water again.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he's really got the foil style dialed in, and he's got a bit of a routine, and he was just following it again. As I said, we got halfway through Jamie and Tim's heat sailing, but Jamie just couldn't really get planing, and then the judges decide to call it off. Interestingly enough, Jamie actually saying he's damaged his foil slightly, so Steven van Broekhoven has lent him a foil.
Oh, wow, that's really nice.
That's pretty
you
cool
see,
as well.
That's what we discussed. Competitors on the water, but friends at the beach, and that's a really sportive move from
because they could
Steven.
easily go, well, unlucky, mate.
Yeah.
But Steven, they kind of, Jamie went and asked him and said, look, can you come and have a little look? Because Steven's also known for that technical knowledge. So he said, could you come and have a little look and see what we can do? And then I think it ended up Stephen saying, "Look, you can borrow one of
Wow,
mine." So
chapeau,
real
chapeau,
sportsmanship.
that's really nice.
Yeah, real
really
sportsmanship,
Very
being
true.
shown from Stephen there. So yeah, that's something really cool.
Yeah.
Coming out of all the riders, even though they're both still in the competition. So that could come back to bite Stephen. You know?
True.
But yeah,
True.
still great to see. So yeah, why don't we take a bit more of a technical look then at the final? So let's have a look at Yentl and Lennart in the final of the single elimination. So yeah, let's take a look at how Lennart found himself in the final. Some of the moves that he was laying down. So Yentl also getting himself up into that final. Just textbook style on everything.
He's loving it. He's a machine on the foil style. Okay,
so
let's look at this recap.
every move that Yentl did leading up to the final that found himself winning that single elimination of the first foil style event. He seemed pretty stoked.
I mean, he won for a reason. Look at this. Look what he pulls off.
we bumped into him in the ice cream queue this afternoon, and he was quite pleased.
Definitely, he was super stoked about this. He's definitely an influencer on the foil style.
Yeah, there's that Pasco we were talking about. So not carving right up into the wind, you know, kind of staying across the wind, and he jumps round. And as you could see, we have a third person in the booth. Adam Sims, the big boss.
Oh, yes. Good to have you, boss.
Good to be here. Thank you very much. It's been entertaining so far.
How's it been for you seeing this day play out? You know, obviously, we all said, you know, we had that meeting at the start of the week, and whilst we won't say it was an experiment, it was very much the first time we've done it. You know, the judges, the riders, all discussing it all. At the end of this day, we can look back on the single elimination. How does it feel for you?
Absolutely. I mean, it's kind of been a long time coming, hasn't
Yeah.
it? It's been on the agenda for a while. I think a lot of people have been wanting to see it happen.
Yeah.
And so we're stoked to see, you know, the first single elimination in foil style happen here.
Yeah.
You know, beautiful location. The winds have been, you know, really spot on to get the foil style going. So yeah, it's been really fun, and obviously a lot of energy around it. People are really excited that there's actually now we can have competition in these kind of even lighter winds. You know, with
Oh
the
yes,
wind.
big benefits.
Obviously
Big
we're
benefits.
familiar with the tow-in. You know, that used to be what would take place. But there was this kind of gap, and now we have the foil style filling that gap. And
Yeah.
we're really excited.
Yeah, as I said, in the ice cream queue, we caught up with Yentl and Stephen a little bit, and they were saying that, weren't they? They said, you know, there is still that point of difference where it's too windy for tow-in. It's perfect for foil style, but it's not quite windy enough for free. You know, there's still a difference between 5.2
Yes.
on a fin and kind of 4.8 on your foil. So they seemed really stoked with how today went.
I mean, I totally understand. I mean, it's pretty exciting to be able to do those crazy power moves that, you know, you've trained so much for to be able to do.
Definitely.
And you're able to do them in much lighter winds.
Yeah.
What's going to be interesting in the future is that kind of, where is that line between the kind of the 5.2 with a fin and the kind of upper wind range of the foil style. You know, if we have events where the wind is pretty good and happening every single day, maybe you push the foil style into that kind of that realm of stronger winds.
Yeah.
You know, and then people kind of really fighting with it.
Yeah.
It's quite interesting to see. And then on the vice versa, you know, you're pushing down with the fin in the lighter winds. So it's interesting. I'm pretty excited about what's to come. I think we'll look later at the forecast, but I think it's going to be a pretty exciting sort of finale at this event as well.
Absolutely.
Definitely. I mean, I saw some tourists standing there at the beach today, and they were like, "Oh my God, we've never seen something like this before." Some like middle-aged windsurfers, you know, and they were so stoked that this was going off actually. So it has a lot of
Absolutely.
potential.
And I think as well with other riders who are watching, perhaps not making it to this competition, you know, other freestylers that already sail to quite a high level, they'll perhaps rethink it and go, maybe we should do a bit of get into the foil style a bit, you know, try and learn some burners, some shackers and things on the foil as well, because they go, look, if this is going to become a part of events, not from a point of you have to do it. You know, there's quite a lot of riders that are here to do freestyle that aren't doing the foil style as well, but we may see as, you know, this becomes more successful, you know, running this event, and we can claim a result. It may end up growing it, like what we said, even with Lucy doing it with the women's fleet, you know. As I've been saying all week, the tide rises all ships, you know. So the more we do it, the more and more people are gonna get into it and realise there's essentially an entirely new discipline that's being founded at this event.
I mean, there's whispers of it, from the guys and the girls that are not, taking part in the foil style, that they're gonna, go towards that direction. You hear some of them, or you see some of them kind of peering out, like, I want to be on the water too. So
well, that's it exactly. They've essentially had a lay day today, and they've had to sit there, kind of, with their hands in their pockets, kicking sand around, going, what, it's another day where we're not doing anything. And then there's been 10 or 15 of the riders that have been running around doing heats, doing moves. They can sit there at the end of today going, even if they didn't do well, they can sit there going,
had fun on the water.
I had a great time on the water today, great time competing.
Honestly, I think this was actually very important for the whole windsurfing industry. Like, not only for the riders, for the brands, for the events, for everything around it. So that was a really important step.
Absolutely, I agree. I mean, it's a dynamic step in that kind of direction to fill the gap.
Yes, totally.
In those wind brackets. So it's super exciting.
Absolutely. So why don't we took a look at Jentel's moves that led him up to the final. Why don't we take a little look at Leonard Neubauer and how he got to the final?
Well, I think this is how he did in the final. So here we're seeing some of Leonard's crazy moves that he threw down in the final. Obviously not quite enough against Jentel, but yeah, I mean,
still finding himself in second place. He told us in the booth he actually only learnt to go switch and duck the sail in his last 2 sessions foiling before he came here.
How crazy!
Look at that.
That was so cool. Oh my God! Look,
landed so clean. So actually going switch and ducking, which he was doing probably, and he said if I hadn't learnt that, he's like, I'd have been in real trouble at this event. I wouldn't have done that well.
Absolutely. I mean, it's crazy how the skill, and actually you see some of that style from like the high wind moves being adapted and put in there.
Absolutely.
That kind of one hand off on the burner earlier was
Tim did an insane one-handed burner earlier as well. And the Pascos from Jentel and things, you could literally Photoshop the foil out and put a fin on and you go, it's the same move.
Exactly.
Which we haven't necessarily seen as much.
Yeah.
The foiling, generally the move does tend to look different, whether it's the swing weight, anything like that.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, I actually almost think those Pascos on the foil look even more radical.
Yeah.
So you've got this like kind of ninja star underneath your feet, just spinning around.
Yeah, well, it's that full. It's like it is a bit of a different rotation, I guess, because of even in the carbon foils that are so light, there is going to be a difference, and it's the way that there's that kind of cartwheel, and then as he comes round, he tucks everything in and just comes down and spins that last bit, because you're not necessarily going to land sliding like you would with a fin. So the whole landing is completely different. And it was that was my highlight of the day was Jentel's Pascos. I thought they were so sick.
And you know what else it teaches them? What's quite interesting to see is it's something you see a bit more from toe-in, and that the toe-in you have to, when you land a move, you have to land like over the gear on the board. And actually you see that with the foil, because they are landing in light winds, like really light winds.
Yeah, so you can't use the power of the sail to help keep you up there.
You've got to like stomp it like on the blocks, like you see in like snowboarding or skateboarding, where you've got to just land like there in position.
Yeah,
so that's also what Tim said skilled. Actually.
Well, that's what Tim was quite frustrated about in one of the last heats. He kind of came in and he was doing that, the judges, and then we saw him and Emmy go and have a bit of a chat, and I think that was his frustration. He was like, look, with foil style, and there is perhaps a point to be made there, if we're to a certain amount of wind needed for it to be contestable, because in order to land them realistically, you have to land like that. But maybe that's also like a progression of the sport that will happen, is whilst it may not be new moves being invented with the foil, it will be they'll have to make those landings a lot cleaner.
I think there's lots of like freaky ways we'll see it progress, weird ways to land it. We see it a bit already, as previously mentioned by you guys, earlier through today, like with Jack Muller, from the Muller brothers, doing these kind of slappy moves, he calls them, like these flat spins.
Well, he's doing that and then bounce, using the foil to kind of bounce against. That's what we were talking about. They kind of duck the sail, whether it's regular or switch, and kind of press down like a coiled spring and let the board almost go down to the water, and then almost let that off, and then it pings them back up. A bit like a cork.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, we're seeing just a lot of progression in the free sailing side, and that's what we're quite excited, I think, to see now in competition as we progress with this discipline.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's also going to be interesting to see how that ends up affecting traditional freestyle as well.
Yeah, definitely.
I wonder if there will be kind of new techniques, new innovations, everything like that that'll end up being added to the
everything's possible. We're at the point where everything's possible.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, what I thought was cool today, from Jentel's run was, I saw him doing that Pasco we were talking about earlier, and I saw how he's obviously spent a bit of time with the Muller brothers. They're very close friends, these guys, and that kind of real tweaked out sort of style on that Pasco as well. So It's quite exciting to see those moves. I think we have a Jentels finals as well, I believe.
Yeah,
So
we did that already. Sorry, you missed it.
I would do
Yeah,
it.
yeah. But let's
I
play it
think- I
again.
think
Why
we
don't we
have-
play it again?
I think we have his final run, like his final moves in the final.
Ah,
I
yes.
believe,
Let's
I
watch.
believe.
Yeah. So we watched the run up into the
Yeah, that's
finals.
it, yeah.
But yeah, let's take a look at Jentels final essentially. I'm waiting for that Pasco.
There it is. Yeah.
So you can
Yeah.
see how far up he threw the sail before he took off there on that burner.
Very easy. on
Yeah,
the
he's a
Shaka,
real
yeah.
example for the younger rippers also in this.
So
Oh,
there's
look
the
at that
Scopu.
one.
That was the only Scopu of the day. It was a difficult move. There's that Pasco. Whoa.
Crazy, eh?
To perfection, yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's it. You really see like those stomped moves and those not so stomped moves. And there's an example,
Yeah.
you know, as he's kind of like using the sail in those ultra light winds.
Yeah.
To kind of that light wind maneuvers to get it, you know, and save it. And it looks
Yeah.
a bit funny. And obviously that's why the stomped moves count so much more, you know, versus those. And
Yeah,
it will be the stomped moves that make.
Well, you could see the riders. You could see the judges really rewarding the riders with that today.
Yeah, exactly.
You know that was a real point of difference we noticed because obviously, whilst there was a lot of difference in the moves, you know the burner was still very much like a staple. Everyone would do that, you know, basically on each tack, and there was a real difference whether they fully stomped it and came round bang ready
Yeah.
to go back out the other way, or whether they kind of had to sort of grab the bottom of the sail, a lot of them, and kind of use the leverage to pull themselves up. You know, they would lose almost, you know, a couple of points.
Yeah, exactly. I think
just
that's
from
where
that.
you saw a bit of those frustrations creeping in, where
Yeah.
you know the guys, the girl as well out there, you know, want to stomp that move. You
Yeah.
know, they've been training that, and they want to land it really like on the board and then sail out of it. You know, even on the foil, you see that sometimes in free sailing.
Yes.
So, you know, you want to see them do that when it's a bit lighter. You know, as we saw today, then they're landing in a little bit of the wobble, the sail grip there. You know, so
Yeah, we saw a lot of funny things going on
Yeah.
today, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
it's cool. New things,
Interesting,
no? So-
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Well, and of course, we've got to mention Lucy Honegger as well.
Of course,
that
very
push loop
important.
crash.
I know, that's a little sign of things to come,
Yeah.
I believe. So
Oh,
that's
yes.
really, like, you know, straight away. I think it was in her first heat. She had the trial one yesterday. You know, when the
Exactly,
wind dropped.
the warm-up.
It was a good go at it, but it wasn't quite enough. And today was a bit more.
I mean,
And-
she's here to inspire other girls, and she's giving it all. And
Absolutely.
I think shout out to her again, because competing with the guys, it's not easy. And she was in the first heat again today
Yeah.
against Tigo, so she was really giving it all. And I think this is just an example to follow, you know.
And I mean, from your perspective as well, how do you see that with that push loop as well? That was
It was
crazy,
great.
no?
I mean, it was a great attempt, and
Yeah.
she was almost there.
I know.
So the next one will be there, I'm sure.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, as you said, an inspiration for both the female and the male riders that,
Yeah,
that are
exactly.
here, and also, you know, watching around the world.
Yeah.
You know, hopefully not only are they going to be convinced to maybe get into the foil style, but just, you know, come along to the events as well
Yes.
and get stuck in and get involved.
Yeah.
And I think it should be said that, you know, it's obviously not gone unnoticed that it was a bit of a difficult heat for her as well.
Yeah.
You know, the conditions were really on the edge.
Yes.
You know, they stuck with it in the end because they could see that the conditions were enough to keep the moves going and make enough moves happening. And that was seen on the other side of the heat. But it's been seen and noted, you know.
Yeah.
And,
Definitely.
And now there'll be a big push to make sure there's opportunities for everyone, you know,
Yeah.
to have good heats, you know, with good wind. So
Yeah.
I mean, I spoke to her afterwards, and she was just a little bit sad that she was actually not able to show what she
Yeah.
wanted to show everybody,
Yeah.
you know? And that's actually a frustrating feeling when you know what you can do, but you cannot show it in that moment.
Yeah.
But that's part of the game, unfortunately. And I mean,
it's fair, you know, for her to show that and be frustrated about that. You know, I've been through that myself.
Everybody,
many
everybody,
times,
yeah.
you know, many heats where it's just not been enough. And I just wanted to show, you know, my potential. And it's recognised, and we're really going to push for another
Yeah.
round. So
definitely,
Yeah.
yeah.
Absolutely. Well, with that in mind, why don't we take a little look at the forecast and what we've got to come for the rest of the event window.
I mean, talking to the locals before, they said that for Saturday, actually, the forecast improved. So it looks good, but we will get the wind from the other direction, actually. That's what they explained us.
Yeah,
before.
so it looks like tomorrow potentially is going to be a
Yes.
bit of a lay day.
Exactly.
I don't know how much wind we're going to get, but we shall see. You
We're
never know.
still hopeful, you know.
Well,
we're always optimistic, and we're looking forward to it. And with a little bit of luck, we will get something.
Absolutely. And in the day before the event started, they had wind from that direction, and they actually ended up all going out and sailing on kind of 5.2s, you know, big sails on you know traditional freestyle. So.
I mean, it always can happen that the forecasts are wrong. It happened to us also a million times that we went to the beach, nothing happened, and then in the end, out of the blue, we got some good conditions.
Absolutely,
I mean, I think everybody of us experienced this already while windsurfing, or the other way around as well.
Yeah,
but we're
exactly.
optimistic. We're here, and we're ready to rumbling anytime.
Yeah, exactly. And then you know, Saturday is actually getting better. The forecast is getting better, leading into hopefully ending with a bang on Sunday.
Yes.
So yeah, fingers crossed. But
the
yeah,
best
tomorrow
at the very end. The best at the very
we
end.
save the best till last. We save the best till last.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. So it has been 20 years of the tour this year.
Crazy. Time is flying, huh?
Time is flying.
The 20th title actually already.
20 years of the Freestyle Pro Tour. Obviously 2020 didn't happen. But of course, other than that, yeah, it has been 20 years. And I caught up with the 2019 champion, Jentel Cares. And we went for a little walk down memory lane, down Champions Alley.
Champions Alley.
To discuss previous champions, how Jentel was inspired to get into the sport, you know, who helped him on his journey along the way. And it was a great conversation. And yeah, we're gonna share that, guys, with you guys now. So yeah, please enjoy. I'm joined by none other than Mr. Jentel Cares, and we're going to take a little walk through Champion Alley. Jentel, how does it feel to see your own name right there, 2019?
Yeah, that's pretty stoked. If you watch all the other names around here, all legends of the sport, it's pretty sick to be in between there. Huh?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's take it through year by year. So obviously starting last year, Jacopo Testa, Micah Hooverman, of course. How was last year for you? Obviously, you know, you were also in that title race.
Yeah, last year was a good fight with Jacopo. We had an amazing event here. We were 1 and 2, Austria, and many more things. Maike is just, from the girls, she's a legend, you know, in Europe. She comes from the same home spot than me, and we don't only have to watch 222 for her, but also 21, 2019. I don't know how many she has, maybe like 4 or 5. So yeah, she's a legend in this. Jacopo, we will see passing by also more.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we look at Micah, we got 2022, 2021. Of course, obviously 2020 didn't happen. 2019, all the way back to 2018 there. So Micah Hooverman, yeah, definitely looking to get her 5th title this year. Just waiting for the girls' fleet to start here, hopefully in a few days' time. So yeah, obviously Amado Vrieswijk as well, missing him here. What's the deal? He hasn't been doing much freestyle recently. Have you spoken to him that much?
Yeah, still really good friends, and I speak often with Amado. He still loves the freestyle, but you know, his passion is really the racing. You can see it. He did racing before he started freestyling. Then he got into freestyle. He's really, really good in it. Won multiple European titles, a world title. Now he's doing mainly focus on the racing, but we definitely will see him back one day here.
Yeah, for sure. Let's take a little walk down then. So obviously Jacopo Testa showing up again, 2017, that was a big year for him. And then of course Tonki Franz, 2018 European champion. Do you still see much of Tonki? I know he's got a centre now in Bonaire. Still looks like he's on the water all the time. Yeah, you were there earlier this year. How was it catching up with him?
Yeah, it's really cool to see Tonki when we were back in Bonaire. Tonki is just one of the legends of freestyle. He's the one who brought it big together with his brother Tati and many other guys, of course. So yeah, it was really nice to see Tonki and Tati back in Bonaire. They have their own school and they're just teaching windsurfing to other people. So just growing the sport for us as legends. So yeah.
Yeah, living the dream in paradise, tropical paradise. Moving a bit further down, we've got Amado Vrieswijk again in 2015. That was the double air culo year, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think that's the years the double air culo got invented or first time seen really on videos and stuff. Yeah. So yeah, that's when the freestyle kind of stepped up another level again. Yeah, absolutely. And then, of course, a large topic of conversation with this is going to be Steven van Broekhoven, basically the most successful European freestyler of all time. What's your relationship with Steven been like over the years? Obviously, he kind of took you under his wing when you first started out and is now kind of doing the same thing again for the young guys coming up from Brouwersdam. And you've also taken that role as well. Talk us through a little bit of what that's been like. Yeah, Steven is a legend for me. He's like my brother. He took me along since a kid. I know him for many years. And still, we're still traveling together, coming to all the events, trying to share as much sessions, but also other things together. He has 5 European titles, a world title. That's insane. Yeah. And look at this. He's still on the podium here in the Freestyle, in Austria in the freestyle. So we're gonna see maybe another European title. Who knows?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, he's definitely not lost it as the years have gone by. What have you noticed as well about as your own career has developed? You know, obviously when you first started, you said, I mean, we're just walking down, there's just Steven van Broekhoven everywhere. Yeah, 14, 13, 14, 15, obviously Amado, and then 16, Steven van Broekhoven. Yeah, what have you noticed about, you know, your relationship with him as it's changed, and now you're also kind of that mentor for some of the young guys? You know, now it's you and Steven, and then obviously before, Steven was that mentor for you when you were that young rider coming up.
Yeah, definitely. I try to bring young people, especially the Brouwersdam locals, the Dutchies, around and have fun together with them, you know, helping them out in the ways we can and sharing sessions and pushing each other. Yeah, just trying to grow the sport and helping out each other. That's what windsurfing is all about. It's not only about yourself to win a heat, it's the group around and the passion for the sport.
Absolutely. The tide rises all ships, as we say. And speaking of that, Davy Sheffers, 2012, one of the most stylish riders, freestylers we've ever seen. You still sail with Davy much?
It's been a while ago I sailed with Davy, but yeah, we share the same home spot. I didn't been much at my home spot, that's the reason. But yeah, he's an amazing sailor. Unfortunately, he's never been the best competition sailor, but in free sailing, we have no chance against him. He can do all the moves, both sides, super stylish, technical. Yeah, that's definitely one. If you don't know him, go watch the videos and get stoked about it.
Yeah, for sure. The video parts were the best bit. He's definitely some of my favorite windsurf videos. All feature parts from him as well. Actually, looking at this, so 2011 as well. You know, a bit of a difficult time. You know, only one event, so quite a few riders on there. What year was your first year on tour?
My first year on European tour was 2010, but I just did a couple events, one here, one there. That was when I was still in school, so that's not really anything special. Yeah, 2011 they had only one event, I think in Mykonos or no, Milos, I don't know, somewhere in Greece. So yeah, they had one event, not so much wind, but that was the year the World Tour had 7 or 8 events. The year Steven was not in between there, he won the world title, so yeah.
Yeah, that's an interesting point actually. Yeah, the year he won, you know, the 2 years before, 2009, 2010, both Steven. Do you feel like, you know, obviously you said your first year was that. I assume Steven kind of brought you along to a couple of those events the year he won, and then after that went on to obviously get his world title the year after.
Yeah, the first event I did in 2010 was in France, and I grew up learning to windsurf there, going on holidays, learning windsurfing there. So yeah, that was like the first thing to go to for me, close by. And yeah, like you see, he won 2009, 2010, then 2011 were so many Peter Race that he skipped the European tour, and unfortunately they also didn't have much wind that year.
Yeah, I mean, well, 2011 was a big year for the World Tour as well, and obviously that was the year he took his world title. As you said, probably the most successful freestyle windsurfer of all time, nearly. Well, maybe not in terms of world titles, but definitely in terms of European titles. And now we're throwing it back even further. So 2008, obviously there's some older names here. Obviously Anton, you know, now got his centre in Lanzarote. Have you spent any time there?
Yeah, we did a couple of European events there. I got invited a few times with him to go sail there, and it's a really cool place, Lanzarote, where Anton is living. He is like one of the guys in the beginning who stepped up freestyle quite a lot, doing like the double forwards, edge achos in the heats, something what was not seen before. As we going back to 2008 and stuff, well, more sliding moves. He's like one of the guys stepping it up quite a lot. Yeah.
And then of course heading over here, guy needs no introduction. You know, inspired probably more freestyle windsurfers than anybody else. Andrei Paskovsky. It's been 10 years since we lost him this year. Did you get to know him at all, or were you kind of too young at the time?
No, I got to know him not for very long, but as I came along with Steven already for many years, and he was a good friend of Steven. I got to know him for a little bit. He's one of the guys we all have to have a lot of respect for during the competitions, but then also after bringing the movies out, and that's the movies we as younger people were watching and learning a lot of tricks from. So yeah, that's a lot of respect for Andrei Paskowski.
Yeah, for sure. Like committed, 4 dimensions. You know, all those videos. You know, you can't. Yeah, I mean that was the video when I first started windsurfing. I saw that I didn't even know what freestyle was, and I watched 4 dimensions, and it just blew my mind. And then stacked and two for 10. You know, all those old school videos. Have you got a favorite that inspired you when you were younger?
100% 4 dimensions. Yeah. It's like this first new school, really good video movie. I mean, I watched it so many times. I think the CD, when it still was CDs, doesn't even work anymore from playing so many times.
Yeah, of course. And then throwing it back, way back to the star of the tour, we've got Kevin Mevison, inventor of the Meave. Yeah. Do you find yourself doing many Meaves these days?
It's never really a move I did much, but yeah, Kevin is from Holland, super good rider. He still windsurfs quite a bit sometimes, mainly in waves now, but is like one of the guys who just wanted to go big and inventing new things. Just another legend, you know, so many legends around here.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Obviously, 20 years of the tour. And then, of course, Matteo Guazzoni, who I spoke to the other day on the phone. And it was interesting him talking about what the tour was like back then. And he was like, you'd come to an event and someone would do a new move at every event. And he was like, it's so different now because the sport's kind of progressed so much that it's hit that kind of bar where actually you're not necessarily seeing that, but all the moves already being done are such a high level already that it's more now the rest of the guys catching up, and there's no safe heats anymore. Would you say that's been your experience as well in the last couple of years?
Yeah, definitely. Before we could know that, like, okay, the first round is pretty easy or the second one, but now you just have every heat is like a final. So yeah, that's pretty crazy. Yeah, Matteo Guazzoni, he will be stoked to see that we are here in Italy. It's his home country. He's living in Garda, teaching a lot of windsurfing and winging. So he's definitely still in the sport and just sharing the passion.
Yeah, absolutely. And it speaks volumes that, you know, of course, pretty much all of these guys that we see on Champion Alley here, they are all still windsurfing. Some of them, obviously, like yourself, still competing, still fighting for titles. You know, Steven van Broekhoven, 2009, his first title, and now he still finds himself on the podium in 2023. Jentel, thank you for taking us through Champions Alley. Back to you.
Oh, that was a really nice recap, Sandy and Jentel. That was really, really nice.
It was really wholesome, wasn't it?
Yes.
I felt really like, maybe not emotional, but I got
melancholic. I would say melancholic.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah,
yes.
I got the warm and fuzzies afterwards. You know, I felt nice. Obviously, you know, especially touching on the stuff about Andrei Paskowski.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You know, everything like that, and the films that he made. You know, and how they really did inspire us, and it's kind of cool, you know, for me when I was starting windsurfing the year that Jentel first started doing some events. So, you know, both coming at such a different time, and yet both of our experiences with those films were like that was our, you know, our inspiration. For him starting to compete, me just starting to windsurf.
Amazing.
And I'm sure there's so many other people watching this around that were affected by those films as well. So it's really cool to have that.
I mean, I hear all these names and suddenly so many memories come into your mind, you know, movies or victories or whatever. So it was really... It was really melancholic, really, really nice.
Yeah, exactly. And also, you know, for me, you know, the year Steven van Broekhoven, you know, won that world title as well, and then after that went on a real tear and started claiming all these European titles. You know, 2011 around that time, that was the year that I sort of started learning to Vulcan, and so some of the videos that he put out then as well. Yeah. And that was that time when we just couldn't watch enough videos of Steven van Broekhoven, you know, windsurfing, you know, in that period. And I'm sure there's a lot of freestylers that feel exactly the same about all those champions. Definitely. Whether it's a video, watching them at a competition, anything. You know, Amado, Jacopo, Micah Hooverman as well. You know, all these champions. yeah, it was cool. It's cool
I mean,
to take a look
I
back
have to
memory day.
admit, it made me feel also a little bit old, just a little bit, because you
Well, we
know,
won't talk about
20
that.
years,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like, oh my God, so
Yeah.
much happened,
Yeah.
and where did time go?
Yeah,
Time
exactly.
is flying, and
Exactly.
you realize what can happen all in
But
20
it's nice,
years
yeah.
of time.
Time is going fast, but it's also nice to look back and go, actually, we've done quite a lot in that time
Yes,
as well.
and I mean, some of them are still around, you know, like Steven, for example.
he's
So
on the
that's
podium
actually
today.
really nice to see.
Yeah.
Yes,
Stephen's still on the podium today.
a living legend.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Exactly. Cool. Well, that is it. From day 2 here in Vieste, guys. We hope you have enjoyed the show. Please do stay tuned. We will be doing a pre-show from 8:30 tomorrow morning. Head over to efpt.net where you can get all the information about the event so far. You can check out elimination ladders, heat scores, everything like that. Make sure you're following us on Instagram at Freestyle Pro Tour to get all the behind the scenes. And we will see you at 8:30 tomorrow morning.
What a day it's been.
What a day.
Can't
Ciao.
wait for tomorrow. Ciao.
Ciao a tutti and welcome to the recap of day 2 here in beautiful Vieste of the FPT, and let's see what happened today. The day started with the first ever single elimination in windsurfing history of Freestyle.
That was fun. It's exciting to do some moves and competing here. Beautiful place, it's warm, so nothing to complain.
We've seen a lot of action and a very high level actually of landed foil-style moves, all the way up to the runners-up final between Steven van Broekhoven and Sammy Stevens. In the final, we have seen some young blood with Leonard Neubauer versus Jentel Kers, who's actually loving the foil style, and it's been a very interesting one. Winner of the first ever single elimination in foil style windsurfing history is Jentel Kers from Belgium. Second place, Leonard Neubauer, and in third place, Steven van Broekhoven.